In the past, there have really only been a few noted attacks by chimpanzees on humans in the United States. Whether it be a pet they have raised from birth or a shelter animal they are trying to heal through many different processes. In the first example, in an article written by Andy Newman of the New York Times, it notes of an attack on a woman where her entire face was almost ripped off by a chimpanzee named Travis. Travis was well known throughout the eastern side of the United States, appearing in TV shows such as Oprah and many commercials, leading everyone to believe he was completely harmless. The article then explains Travis's owner, Sandra Harold, who was 70 years old, had raised him as one of her own children but found herself eventually lunging at him with a butcher knife. Travis was said to be in a rambunctious mood Monday afternoon. He took her keys from the table, unlocked the door, and let himself out into the yard to play. This single-handedly explains the intelligence of these animals. Although they are tested on and not introduced to many outside sources in our lab, they are born with like-minded intelligence like humans. This is why our security of these animals must be enhanced, and the drivers must go through more training and background checks to make sure something like the September 14th morning never happens again. Another source we found, written by Rich Shapiro, is a gruesome story of a chimpanzee attack on two owners. They were on a picnic together on a normal afternoon with their chimpanzee, but for some reason decided not to feed him until later as they went on to eat right in front of him. Leading events were described as, out of the corner of her eye, LaDonna suddenly noticed a large form about 40 feet away, staring at her. It was the chimpanzee, their own chimpanzee that they raised from birth. The chimp held its gaze for a moment, and then charged at St. James and LaDonna. The animal barreled into LaDonna, almost breaking her back. Then, as the husband pushed LaDonna under the picnic table as she was hysterically screaming and crying, screaming commands like no, stop, sit, that he usually responded to, the chimpanzee locked onto St. James's, the husband's hand, and with one ferocious jerk of his neck, he tore it completely off. When St. James threw his wife under the picnic table, there was a full cake on the table. The chimpanzee wasn't even focused on the food anymore. He was only focused on attacking, just as they are in their primitive state. Some of the solutions we came up for the September 14th morning to make sure it never happens again is, even though 7 people were brutally attacked, leaving an entire city in panic mode, we must come together as a company and change our background and hiring process as we move forward. We will do much more intense background checks outside of whether or not they have a criminal record. We will be performing mental assessments to see if the applicants have any history of mental illness that would lead to further issues down the road while handling these chimpanzees that are so important to us. In conclusion and moving forward, we will make sure that nothing like the events that occurred on that morning ever happen again. We simply cannot be able to handle it financially or morally. What happened on that morning will go down in history with our company name in the headlines. Once again, we sincerely apologize to the people involved and hope for the best recovery possible. Thank you.